Hello and welcome to Earthfile. I'm Chimeze Obi Wago. Agricultural research experts from over 20 countries gathered at IITA in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, southwest Nigeria, to draw a new roadmap for an efficient and equitable cassava flake system, popularly known as Gari. On this week's edition of the program, we will be focusing on cassava flakes revolution in Nigeria, its challenges, prospect, and importance.
Cassava is one of the most popular and widely consumed food crops and is fast becoming an elite food crop in Nigeria and other sub-Saharan African countries. It is the most important food staple in Nigeria. The competing needs for cassava now cut across both human and animal consumption. It is fast becoming a popular raw material in industrial production and is now a preferred material for making biofuels.
There was a E10 policy before during President Obasanjo's era, and this would have been a very good opportunity now to be able to combine as they are doing in Brazil. You have a car in Brazil now that they call Brazil. The car is such that can use biofuel, and you have it and you run it. So it's a big market, and we have an industry now that uses nothing less than 200 to 300 tons of cassava root in a day in Igbesa, allied industry. So producing ethanol for the biofuel market and all those ones. So the cassava is transiting from the traditional subsistence that we are aware of to being an industrial raw material.
Cassava production in Nigeria has been a very good experience with Nigerians because Nigeria, number one, is the number one producer of cassava in the whole world, and also, unfortunately, number one consumer. And most of the cassava produced goes for Gari and for other household uses. Production of cassava, it's something that is one of the easiest crops to cultivate, unlike other difficult crops. But we tell people that because when you throw cassava stem somewhere, it germinates and then bring forth good root, doesn't mean you have to abandon it. What is the first thing to take into consideration when I'm thinking about cassava production? You need to think about suitable land.
Cassava is highly adaptable to the African tropical climate and soils, and remains very popular for producing excellent harvests even when other crops failed. Cassava is such an important food in the region and an extremely versatile crop. It is commonly referred to as the cornerstone of food security in Africa.
If you are thinking about weed management in cassava, it is not after you have planted. It is right from the time of land preparation. If you do not prepare right very well, definitely you are already calling for weed to come and compete with your crop. One of the other things militating against production is the issue of adequate spacing when you are planting. We recommend that when you plant your cassava, use a spacing of 1 meter by 0.8 meters. If you have too much gap, you find out that the other spacing you are leaving is left for weed.
Because of the importance of cassava tubes in Nigeria, local and international research experts in agriculture from Global Cassava Partnership for 21st Century, Natural Resources Institute, Research Program on Roots, Tubers and Banana, Agricultural Research for Development, amongst others, all gathered at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, to seek ways to improve Gari production in the country. The conference is tagged Gari Revolution Workshop, Roadmap to an Efficient and Equitable Gari Processing System, which begins on Tuesday the 4th of October and ends on the 6th of October 2016. The purpose of this workshop, according to the organizers, is to think beyond the scientific exchange of information, but rather to identify together what should be done to greatly improve the Gari production in the country.
It's very important to start in Nigeria if you are dealing with Africa, and if you are dealing with food. The reason why we choose the name Revolution is to attract attention on this very important food. Everybody knows Gari, but we need to make sure that people understand that we have to change the efficacy of processing the Gari in order to produce more and potentially better food. So we chose that name to get people attention, to say what do they want to do with this Gari processing. It's very common to hear that Gari processing is fine, is working fine, etc. Yes, it does, but we could improve. We could make it more efficient, and we could produce more food ultimately. So I think it's very important to attract attention of many different kinds of people.
A lot of effort has to go into revolutionizing Gari, simply because it is a food security product for the country, and also it can earn income for the country when Gari is exported to either neighboring countries or even countries where cassava is not consumed, but we can introduce Gari for them to eat, especially the southern Eastern African countries where they are always plagued with drought.
Number one is that there's going to be enhancement of productivity of cassava, which is in line with the current Nigerian government agricultural support policy document, Alternative to Agriculture. You are increasing the yield of the cassava because there will be opportunity for more high yielding, high starch, high dry matter content to the farmers. Two is that the processors will now have access to new technologies that will be able to remove or reduce the drudgery in the Gari processing, especially women and youth, that they will also gain a lot as an opportunity for this kind of intervention. The third layer are actually the markets. If you look at most of our markets, either informal markets or the supermarkets that are coming on board now, there will be more variety of Gari in the market, and there will be more trades opportunity.
The Director of Research Program on RTB, Dr. Graham Thiel, said the purpose of the workshop was to identify strategies to greatly improve Gari processing in quantity, quality, and livelihood of those involved.
The opportunity, we've got growing population, there's a real need to have more food production, and we think Gari, there hasn't been enough attention yet given to Gari. There's a huge potential in Gari, it's an excellent product, but we look around the country and we see small-scale operations, and there's a large scope for improving that technology, making it healthier, more efficient, and getting better food to cities at a lower price, and at the same time making more income for farmers and for the processors. We have a lot of people coming together. We need to have the private sector, we need to have the processors themselves, we need to have scientists coming together. So it's a complex problem to improve the profitability, the efficiency, and to have more equity so it means many people coming together. So we try to get all of the key players together at this really important meeting to get a consensus about what we need to do. And that consensus we call the roadmap of the next steps, the next things that we have to do in this urgent task of moving ahead and improving the efficiency and the equity of Gari processing in Nigeria. Some of the things we need to do, we need to work on with the Gari processors to co-develop and co-implement new technology. So we have some great ideas, we have some prototype technologies, but we need to be working with those very people, with the women and men who are involved in the processing, to improve that technology. So we've seen, if you go to Oyo, just up the road from here, you see that the technology hasn't changed that much in the past 20 years. It's not very healthy for the people. There's a lot of Garis on open fryers. So how can we improve that technology? How can we make it healthy? There's a lot of waste also produced. You can see large mounds of Gari peel, and there's a large opportunity to take that peel and to turn it into added value for those processes.
I think what you produce is enough. It's more than enough for you to import. And that is why you are now turning cassava into high quality cassava flour to be used in the bakery. You have actually forgotten that you can basically process everything into Gari and export because you also have a huge population of Nigerians or even population from West African countries who live overseas. That's a big market for curry. The trend, what I can see in the next 5-10 years, I see curry becoming more staple food even in East and Southern Africa because we have introduced it there. I see curry becoming an income earner for Nigeria, taking into account the Nigerians and West African population in diaspora. So the future is bright for curry.